Hey, ladies and gents, and welcome to episode 5 of the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything going on into the industry. As always, I'm joined with Jordan.
Beyond.
And Dominic.
What's going on?
So, what have we been playing, guys? For me, I downloaded the Platinum demo last night with the, as of recording this, the Final Fantasy 15 event was yesterday, or last night rather. Talked about all of that stuff. We'll get into that later in the news. But I played the Platinum demo. Took me about 55 minutes. I played it in a collector's kind of mentality of trying to get as much things as I could through my first playthrough. It was good. Like I said, we'll talk about it later. Played a little bit more of The Division. Still haven't... The Child of Light notice. Still haven't gotten to it. Never going to happen. Been playing Smite. Same thing. And I was playing Metroid. I own the original Metroid on the 3DS. I was playing through that. I was listening to a podcast. I wanted something just to play as I was listening, and I hadn't played Metroid in a very long time, so it was just cool to get back in there. I didn't beat it or anything. I was messing around. But yeah, so the biggest dive for me probably this week was the Platinum demo, just because it was something that was so out of my wheelhouse. And yeah, it was really interesting. So that's what I've been playing this week.
Well, let me tell you, I downloaded Miitomo today on my phone, and it didn't work.
Oh, wow.
Couldn't even open the app, so.
Wow.
That's my experience with that.
I bet you were really bummed out about that, dude.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things. I was curious,
Yeah.
But, oh well.
That's sad. Hopefully that's not a sign of what's to come for Nintendo in the mobile scene.
I mean, I haven't heard of anyone else having problems with it either. Everyone else seems to kind of like it, from what I've heard so far.
Did you finish Automatron?
Yeah, I did. It was fun, like I said last week. Some cool stuff. The robot building is pretty fun. The quest was the quest, I guess. It was there. Yeah, it was fun.
So for me, it's been a long-running topic that I've been playing the original Mass Effect, of course, and I finally completed it this week.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that game. It's like I said, I'm still totally on a sci-fi kick from Star Wars last fall, and totally scratching that itch. I really love Mass Effect. I'm very excited to get into the rest of the series, but since I've heard so many good things, especially about 2, I'm just gonna give it a little break, maybe a week or so before I start that one, because especially since Andromeda has been delayed, I don't want to play them all right back to back and not have.
You want to pace yourself a little bit.
You got
right.
time.
Yeah, exactly. I'd kind of like to string them out up until the release of, or at least close to Andromeda. So finished that game, had a great time. And one thing, Jerrad, you might even get a little upset with me. I screwed up on here with Mass Effect. I didn't even start thinking about romance until the very end, and it was already too late.
Wow.
I screwed. So I screwed it up, but that just incentivizes me for subsequent playthroughs. So I'll come back through and hit up Liara, you know what I'm saying? So,
yep.
Especially since she technically doesn't have a gender, and you can go... Because I don't know if people know this, as forward-thinking as BioWare is, they didn't let you do same-sex couples unless you did it with Liara, who's an Asari, who don't have genders. So all the guys in Mass Effect 1 are kind of boring as shit. Even though Rex and Garrus are cool, Kaidan... Spoilers for Mass Effect, you have to choose either Kaidan or Ashley to kill, and I was like, you know what, Kaidan can go screw himself. So.
Oh wow, you're in my boat. Cool. Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Kaidan's like one of the most boring characters in that entire game. So I wanted to get with a lady because all the guys were boring as hell. So Liara is my girl next time I play. And then besides that, I have started working on the Platinum Trophy for Assassin's Creed Unity. That's my second playthrough there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And really happy with the DLC for Assassin's Creed Syndicate that I just downloaded, the Jack the Ripper campaign.
Oh, it sounds cool.
It's really cool, man. It's obviously about Jack the Ripper. And you know how Assassin's Creed likes connecting everything to history through the Assassins and Templars. So he's like a rogue assassin who's been killing off what the world sees as these prostitutes, but really they're female assassins.
Oh wow.
So he's like going against the Creed, yeah. And takes place 20 years after the main game, and you play as Evie, who's pretty much everybody's favorite character from that game. So they did a lot of things right, and it's even got this like takes place in the wintertime, so it's like snowy London.
That's
and
cool.
There's like this like whole horror vibe because of the Jack the Ripper thing. So I know we had mentioned like with the Bloodborne Old Hunters what is good like essential DLC, and I think this totally is in that boat. I'd recommend Jack the Ripper DLC to anybody who loves Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
So, so Jack the Ripper was a good guy then?
Well, I don't want to spoil too much for the story just in case anybody wants to play it, but like I said, he used to be an assassin. He's like part of the Creed, and then he's like essentially gone crazy and just started turning against the Brotherhood. So
Oh, okay, I see.
yeah, he's kind of on a crusade in that sense. And they have all these like you play a little bit as Jack, but mostly as Evie. And so they have all these new game mechanics that are based around fear and frightening your enemies. And so you've got like spikes that you can shove into people's arms and make them scream on the ground. You've got like green goblin bombs that you can throw at people and they shoot out orange smoke. So there's a couple other different things that add to like your fear gauge, and so it's a cool new mechanic.
That's
I
cool.
like the idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'll definitely pick up the Buffalo Bill DLC for Fallout. All right, Jared, what's the news?
Oh, funny that you'd ask that. So our first bit of news here is that the games for gold were actually released last week, but we wanted to wait for the PlayStation Plus games to get revealed so we can kind of talk about that and see who quote unquote won. Even though we're all getting free games, so that's cool.
Yeah, we all win.
Well, you're subscribing to a service, and the games are yours as long as you're subscribed. Let's be clear.
So, games with gold for Xbox One, first half of the month you'll be getting, actually the whole month, 1st through 30th, you'll be getting Wolf Among Us, the awesome Telltale series. And for April 16th to May 15th, you'll be getting Sunset Overdrive, which is a fantastic game. As Jordan has said, I haven't had the chance to play it, but apparently it's a really good game. Has great scores. People love that game. On Xbox 360, the first half of the month, you'll get Dead Space, which is also backwards compatible on your Xbox One. Same with Saints Row 4, that's available the second half of the month. And on PlayStation Plus, you have Dead Star and Zombie, which are available for the PlayStation 4. Dead Star is an arcade shooter, and Zombie was the release title for the Wii U that's now been ported over to the PlayStation 4. On the PlayStation 3, you have Savage Moon, which is a tower defense game, and I Am Alive, which is a post-apocalyptic survival game. And coming to the Vita, we have a puzzle game called A Virus Named Tom and a fish-themed shooter named Shutshimi, which I'm probably saying wrong. Looking at this, I think that Xbox has arguably the way better, not arguably, I guess just a way better lineup for this month. Jordan, you have a couple of things to say about PlayStation Plus the last couple of months?
Yeah, so I mentioned before the podcast that this is our second month in a row where we just got a real bad game. Last month was Reality Fighters for Vita, which is a notoriously abysmal game for the Vita that uses all the gimmicky touchscreen and rear camera
Oh, God.
mechanics. Yeah, and then this month we get Zombie, which is maybe not a stinker per se, but like not necessarily a game that people
Are
favor.
clamoring for.
Yeah, exactly. This is not like a game that's looked on positively. So, I guess, Jerrad, your Xbox, and Dom, you play PS4, so I guess I'm the only person here that has both consoles. And being a subscriber to both services, man, Xbox has been not killing it, but they've been on top for a while now because, you know, I get the fact that you're getting more games with PlayStation. They have 3 consoles to give away games for as opposed to the 2 that Microsoft does. But at the same time, Microsoft's giving away 4 games, so it's nothing to sniff at, and they're like they're not knocking it out of the park, but they're knocking Sony's games out of the park in comparison. I mean, Dead Space is one of my favorite games of all time, as well as Sunset Overdrive. So the fact that those games are free is honestly astonishing to me.
Dead
Yep.
Space
And
is fantastic.
yeah, and just the fact that, like I said, that we've gotten 2 months in a row with some PlayStation stinkers, and that's just, it's not all right with me.
Well, the crazy thing is all 4 of those games are really solid games, and they're all different.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wolf Among Us, you have an episodic storytelling game, right? Narrative driven. Dead Space, horror, obviously, which is the most horror out of the Dead Space series. Sunset Overdrive, wacky, superhero style game going all over the place, and then Saints Row is your poor man's GTA, which in all reality it's as solid of a game, right? People love the Saints Row games.
Yeah.
And wacky as well, but I agree with you that Xbox is nailing it as far as giving people more of what they want for free. But I mean, PlayStation has some things up its sleeve. Like for instance, Shadow of the Beast, which is a remake for PlayStation 4, is coming out soon, and the release date was actually announced. It's from developer Heavy Spectrum, and it was announced that the PS4 exclusive will debut on May 17th. So on PlayStation's blog post, Heavy Spectrum CEO Matt Birch revealed that the studio made significant changes to the game in the past few months. Among these are updates to the combat mechanics that they feel buttery smooth, while main character Airbron, I believe is how you pronounce it, has been given new abilities that aim to provide much more depth to gameplay. You can see some of these in the video above. And on the article at GameStop from Eddie, it shows a little video showing off Shadow of the Beast, so another PS4 exclusive here. I don't think this is going to get people, this isn't a system seller by any means, but it is a cool little thing that, PlayStation owners have to themselves. And hopefully it's a good game. That's really all that matters, whether it's a remake or not, if it's exclusive or not. Hopefully it's a good experience, right?
But Jerrad, does it have a clean sheet design though?
I don't know if it's going to have
That's
a
what
clean
we're
sheet
looking
design.
for, Jerrad.
Nothing here says clean sheet. Buttery smooth,
Oh, that's...
but not clean sheet.
Talk about keywords, man. Buttery
Right.
smooth.
Buttery smooth. So a really interesting story here, I think is really interesting, is that Ubisoft is opening a new studio in the Philippines. It's going to be in Santa Rosa Laguna, which is 35 kilometers from Manila's main business center. And it'll open up during the spring to employ up to 50 people. And it's going to be working in association with a university there, the La Salle University campus, so it can basically foster young talent. And it's Ubisoft's third Southeast Asian location, which I wasn't familiar with. They actually have a location in Singapore, and they have a location in China, which is really interesting. Obviously, there's no Assassin's Creed this year, but it doesn't mean that Ubisoft is halting production on anything. They have a bunch of games coming out. There's the other Tom Clancy game. What is it? Badlands, I believe it's called. What are the other Ubisoft games coming out this year?
Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, probably Watch Dogs. I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, support for The Division. There could be something that we don't know about, like a Rayman game or something. Yeah, like Ubisoft makes a bunch of games, and they've been knocking out with the like AAA indie games, as you would call them. Like Valiant Hearts is a phenomenal experience. I love Valiant Hearts.
I think we'll get another one of those.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Did you play Valiant Hearts?
I did not. I've got it all downloaded and ready to go, but because it was a PS Plus game back when they were actually putting good games on the lineup.
That game is sad.
Yeah, I'm totally down with these huge companies making, like you said, AAA indies. I mean, as long as they're not like trying to act like hipsters and be like, "Oh, look at us, we're EA making Unravel," as long as they're doing it for good reasons, which I think they are in both EA and Ubisoft situation.
Yeah, definitely. The next story here is that the Hitman Episode 2 release date was announced. It's coming out April 26th, and from what Jordan said, this was kind of their plan going forward. Is it's going to be about a week, a month and a week from the release of the first episode, and the second episode is taking place in Spain, Sapienza, Spain, I believe.
It's Italy.
Italy?
Yeah.
Interesting. So they're meeting the expectations that they set forth for themselves and for people, right? This is coming out a little over a month from the first episode, a lot quicker than what people are used to with the Telltale games. I think this is good, but from what I've seen, people had trouble playing the first episode. There was a lot of like connectivity issues. People are getting kicked off of the servers nonstop. The release wasn't great for this game, so hopefully they can hit this episode 2 out of the park. It's cool that they're delivering so early on, though, so people are still interested, right?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I don't think people are going to be able to formulate their full impressions of this game until it's, like, the entire thing is fully out. And I don't think they're even putting out a retail disc until next year, so it's going to be a while.
Oh, wow. Do you think this is one of those games that people are just going to forget about in conversations until the full game is out? So, like, you know, it happens with Telltale too, but I feel like because Hitman isn't necessarily driven by its story, it's driven by its gameplay, it's a kind of a different breed of animal, right? For it to be episodic in this way.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting taking this kind of game episodic. We've talked about that before. At least with like Telltale, the episodes, you don't have a full indication of the game as the episodes are coming out. But like a TV show, you have these pillars of like, oh, episode 3, that's the episode you need to play. Whereas with this, it's like they're individual like areas with missions, and it's I don't know, it's weird. It's gonna be interesting to see how this game succeeds critically and financially.
You know, I don't want to talk about this too much because I've already had my own topic about Hitman, but I really think they're just botching the crap out of this release. I think, you know, it was supposed to come out December 1st. The full game was supposed to be out last year on December 1st, or December 8th, something like that, beginning of December. You know, I don't know why they didn't just delay it for a year and put it out this fall as the full game, because like you said, people are not going to bring this up in conversation as, oh, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I love that game. No one's going to go, oh yeah, well I've been playing part of Hitman, and I really like that game. It's just not something that people are going to talk about because it's, in the eyes of gamers, it's not a full game until it's fully out.
Speaking of games coming out, actually, off of that, there are rumors that Call of Duty this year is going to be returning to space, which is interesting, considering that we have these rumors that Battlefield is going back to World War I trench warfare. So these two big franchises are going in completely opposite directions. Obviously, it's a little different for Call of Duty because they have those 3 studios kind of rotating in, right? One comes in, and then the other ones are working on it. So you have a new studio releasing a new Call of Duty game every year. I think that the market's really going to speak on this. It's going to gamers are going to let people know whether or not they want something more futuristic. It seems like the market's flooded with that. I think Battlefield going back to World War I, it was funny because we were saturated with World War II games for the longest time, right? And now we're flooded with future tech. So I'm interested to see which one of these 2 games will, you know, take off.
Man, all I know is I'd much rather play a game set in space than World War I. I mean, depending on how they do it, World War I sounds like an awfully boring setting to me.
That's interesting.
Are you telling me you don't want to play Trench Simulator?
Exactly.
See, for me, that's really interesting because for me, when I play Call of Duty, I don't want to play it in space. I want to play a shooting game where it's more based in things like when I think Call of Duty, I think military. When I think military, I don't necessarily think space. If I want a space game, I want a sci-fi game. You know?
Well, yeah, between the two, I guess is what I'm saying. I'd rather have the Call of Duty space game, but neither particularly sound appealing to me. Generally.
Yeah, and the thing is with all of these, like with Titanfall 2 going to be coming out and stuff like that, and then, you know, obviously there's Halo. I think going World War I, though you're not particularly interested in it, it opens an avenue for people to, when they go to a game store or they see things online and it's like space. This is interesting. I've never played a World War I game. Yeah. You know, I think being different is interesting, and World War I does fit, you know, DICE's, you know, MO. Like it's more comfortable for them to go back to that than to go back to go to space, I think.
Oh, I absolutely adore the idea that, you know, they're trying something different, right? I mean,
yeah,
the FPS genre definitely needs that. It's just they're gonna have to really sell me on the World War I setting is all. If they can do it right, then I'm sure it'll be great.
And both of these are rumors. Neither of these are confirmed. We don't have confirmation that Battlefield's going to be set in World War I, and we don't have confirmation that the next Call of Duty is going to be in space.
I'm quoting you, Jerrad.
Oh, God. Please don't. But for me, I think that Call of Duty being in space is more likely. The Battlefield thing does sound likely, but if I had to pick one of these 2 that I'd had to put money on, it'd definitely be that the next Call of Duty is going to be in space.
Sure.
Especially with the way they're it looked like they were. It's funny how Call of Duty is going more towards Halo and Halo is going more towards Call of Duty as far as gameplay concerned. It's really weird, but yeah, we'll see what happens with these two blockbuster franchises that no matter what they make are going to rake in tons of money. So speaking of tons of money to be made, going back to when I was talking about me playing the Platinum demo, the Final Fantasy Uncovered event for Final Fantasy 15 was yesterday or last night of recording this. There was a bunch of things. So they released a free demo for Final Fantasy 15 called Platinum Demo. It's its own standalone. You take control of the main character of Final Fantasy 15, Noctis, in a younger state. He's a little boy, and you're in a dream that he's having with a companion named Garbuncle. Cool thing is, when you finish the game, you can rename that character to whatever you want to name it.
To anything other than Garbuncle?
Yes, to literally anything other than Garbuncle. I played it. It was 50 minutes. We'll get into that in the topic, but yeah, it's really cool. It's cool that they did the the Bethesda thing of it's available now, like they did with Fallout Shelter. They also announced a little like side game thing, like a mobile game that's going to be in Final Fantasy 15, but you can play it on Android and iOS. It's called Justice Monsters 5. It looks like Pinball meets Final Fantasy. If that interests you. They announced the CG film that's going to be coming out, feature length. It's called Kingslave, and it has a star-studded cast. Lena Headey is going to be voicing the daughter of the king. Sean Bean,
Said Queen Cersei.
Right, Sean Bean, also from Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings fame, is going to be voicing the king himself. And Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad is going to be voicing one of the main protagonists that's part of the Kingslave. He's this really cool character. I forgot his name, but he has like Nyx's, I think is his name, Nyxs or Z or something. And he has like these two daggers. Really cool character. It was announced today that none of these people are going to be voicing the characters for the video game. They're only going to be for the Kingslave feature film, which is kind of disappointing. But those people are probably pretty expensive.
Well, and they're actors. I mean, they're TV and movie actors. So.
But if you're voice acting in a movie, in a animated movie,
I guess it can't be that different.
They also announced a prequel anime series called Brotherhood, which contains 5 episodes. The first one is already up and available at their YouTube page, and it basically takes the 4 main characters and gives you a little bit more information about them from their birth to where you start off with them in the game, which I think is really cool. And they also announced 2 special editions, a deluxe edition and an ultimate collector's edition, which I don't have to go too much into that. Obviously, the deluxe edition gives you bonus in-game content and stuff like that, and the ultimate collector's edition gives you a statue and a bunch of really cool things.
And what's the price on that one?
I believe it was like $300 or $400, right? I didn't check the exact price.
$270 is what I saw.
Does it come with a VR headset?
No. But it comes with a lot of crazy stuff. It comes with like a soundtrack and like a steelbook. It comes with your own physical copies of Kingslave and Brotherhood. So it's like if you're an Ultimate, like obviously that's who these are for. An Ultimate Final Fantasy fan, you're probably gonna want to pick this up. There was only 30,000. I wouldn't be surprised if they're already sold out. They went on sale last night. There's a lot of stuff here. Jordan was actually saying before we started recording, it seems like this was a move for Final Fantasy, for Square Enix to say, we've taken so long on Final Fantasy that we want to give you a lot of cool stuff to be excited for. They announced the release date. That was kind of spoiled by GameSpot early on. There's actually a story talking about how GameSpot kind of screwed themselves for releasing that because now they broke NDA and there's a big old thing with that. But this event was crazy. Were you guys surprised at how much stuff was actually announced for Final Fantasy?
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of skeptical on really they need a whole event just to announce the release date for this game. But, I mean, they kind of justified it with all the shit they just announced. So.
Right.
But I don't think it's shit, and I don't think that's what you meant. But,
well, I didn't mean shit.
Yeah. No, I think people need a reason to be excited for this game. It's almost like, it's like your buddy's like, dude, I got this mixtape coming out. You're going to love it. It's going to be the best thing ever. And then 2 years later, he's like, dude, this mixtape's about to be so fresh. And you're like, all right, dude, well, release it and let me hear it, and then I'll judge that for myself. And that's kind of how I feel Final Fantasy has been, where it's like, guys, we've got this game, and it's just going to be so cool. And they're doing these, like, active time reports or whatever they're called, where they're like updating you on this forever game that they're making. And I just feel like at some point you have to be like, okay, it is coming out at this time. You should be excited for it because it's going to be an awesome game. But because of the fact that we've made you wait for literally 10 years for this game, we've got all this other stuff to keep you excited for it. And like the YouTube series is free. I'm sure that mobile game is going to be free even if it has microtransactions. So like the fact that they're giving away free stuff is even bigger. The demo is free as well. So
Yeah,
that's
given
a big
like
that's a big power play for them to get people back on their side, because there's not a whole lot of people that are in their camp when it comes to, positivity about Final Fantasy 15. I'm
right,
sorry,
I mean,
Final
given
Fantasy versus 13.
yeah, definitely. Given like the spot they were in, they did everything right during this event, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything they could have possibly done right, they did. Obviously, up till now, like you said, it's been what's going on over there? Is this coming? Or yeah, exactly. But what this event was good, definitely. I mean, it grabbed my interest as someone who's never played any Final Fantasy ever.
Exactly. It grabbed my interest so much that as soon as it ended, I downloaded Platinum Demo and I played it. It was about 50 minutes. And you know what? I'm just going to transition to the topic right here. Thank you guys for listening to the news portion. We're going to hop into the topics. So the Platinum Demo, I want to get into this. I played it. Took me about 55 minutes. And it was, like I said, I played it as a collector. I was collecting all the gems I could and all that stuff. This world really intrigued me because Final Fantasy has always been something kind of in the Metal Gear sense where it seems like there's a lot of convoluted stuff going on, and if you're not in early, it's going to be hard for you to get in it all right.
Yep.
And with this game, the gameplay changed dynamically, and for me that's a huge thing. I don't like turn-based games, even though I play Pokemon all the damn time. But like for me, playing on a console, I don't like turn-based strategy games. I don't like turn-based combat games. It's not my thing. When I saw this was more of a hack and slash game, and it was an open world game, and it was weird because it was like fantasy mixed with current day with the cars and the cell phones and stuff. I was like, this is weird, but I like it. And I was like, you know what? There's a Platinum Demo. I can play this game, get a feeling for the gameplay, and I can find out if I want to play this game. I got into that game and I immediately loved it. I love the music is phenomenal. I love the music in that game. The game looks pretty. The gameplay's fun. It feels a lot like Kingdom Hearts in a sense, which is not. It feels like Kingdom Hearts in a sense, which is not too weird. Obviously, because it's Square Enix. But I love the game. I've never beaten a Final Fantasy game. I understand references when they showed the Chocobo and they showed him riding it. Everyone got excited. I understood why that was exciting. So I'm kind of in Greg Miller's camp where I understand and respect the franchise and appreciate it, but I've never fully delved into it, and I honestly feel as if I'm going to be buying Final Fantasy 15 and playing it and enjoying myself. I love the Platinum Demo. Jordan, you said you downloaded it, right? You just haven't gotten to it yet?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it, but I'm definitely excited to play it. I've already not played extensively, but I've played the episode Dusky demo as well, and it's a cool game, man. They did the right thing where they finally realized for so long Kingdom Hearts had been borrowing pieces of Final Fantasy's combat and game mechanics. And then they were like, hey, maybe we should switch that around and borrow some Kingdom Hearts mechanics for this game. And I think that's really going to pay off because they got away with the turn-based kind of esque stuff during the 13 trilogy. It's really not necessarily turn-based, but it still has its roots in that.
Yeah.
And everyone always says that the highlight of the 13 trilogy is its combat system. So I think that was the latest that they could have gotten away with it. Now in 2016, there's no way that you're going to be able to just make a straight turn-based role-playing game. That's why they're not doing it for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So very smart to go with the Kingdom Hearts influence. And, last few episodes ago we were talking about, or I was mentioning that I decided not to pre-order or buy Star Wars Battlefront just because I felt like EA had really abused their customers in a lot of ways, kind of stripping that game bare and making you pay for the season pass to get a really full $60 experience. So I'm kind of sitting in the same boat here where it comes to Final Fantasy 15 and Last Guardian. I am like, I'm totally interested in these games and I want to play them, but I really can't say that I'm going to pre-order either of those games because that's really just rewarding these people for, taking 10 years to make a game and continuously saying, "Oh, you'll get it. Just stay excited and it'll come around eventually." And that's not how you treat your customers. That's not how you treat gamers as an audience. So I can't say that I'll pre-order these games just because, on the general principle, but I'm definitely excited for it.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that, but it does suck that they took so long to come out with this game, but at least they said it was in the works and it is eventually coming out. We've never heard anything about any third game from Valve ever.
True.
And this game was, 10 years in the making?
Wait, Jerrad, are you telling me you're not excited for the Portal Vive demos?
Oh, I can't wait. So excited.
That full-fledged Valve game that they've been working their butts off.
For me, this is really cool because I've never been super enriched in the Final Fantasy universe, but with this game, I'll feel super comfortable because they have the 5 animated anime episodes, right? So I can get familiar with the characters. I can digest them at my own time. I can either take the episode 1 and get them as they come out, or I can wait for all 5 of them, which I'm probably going to do. There's the movie that's going to come out. So for me, this is a great time for me to jump in because I was able to play the demo. I really enjoyed it, so I knew if I was going to like the gameplay, obviously not everything, but a little sampling, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be able to jump in and kind of feel as if I'm getting to this point where with everybody else where I don't feel lost. I can watch the anime and watch the movie and be like, oh, this is I'm on pace with everybody for this specific version of Final Fantasy. And that's really cool to me because I always felt as an outlier not knowing about Final Fantasy because I have so many friends who love Final Fantasy and people just talk about it all the time. And I'm always the guy that's like, I've never played one. I don't really like them,
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm necessarily going to pre-order this game either. And I don't know if it's a definitive buy for me, but everything they said they were going to do and everything I've seen so far makes me want to buy this game so bad. And it's cool. And maybe that's just me wanting to play Kingdom Hearts and this is going to fill that need, but I just like the weird stuff in it. And I like it. What about you, Dom? Are you planning on buying this game? Are you interested in downloading the demo? What's going on for you?
So, I mean, the smartest thing they did on top of this event was the demo. I mean, that's huge to me, especially, I mean, how many games come out with demos nowadays? It's
and the fact that it's free because the other one you had a pre-order or something, right?
You had to get Final Fantasy Typo HD.
Yeah, so this is no strings attached. It's completely free.
Exactly. So people like me who have never been into this series at all, even in the slightest, catch a glimpse of some of this hype, but we're still borderline on the fence. It's a tough thing to jump into a whole new genre, a whole new series. You don't really know. I mean, that's even just for $60, that's kind of you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. The demo completely alleviates that. I mean, you'll know, right?
Yes.
That's why, I mean, I've been loving the 3DS because so many games have demos. I mean, me jumping into Fire Emblem, I was at least able to play the demo for Awakening before dropping $40 on Fire Emblem Fates. So the demo is huge, and that was really smart of them. So, I mean, after I play the demo, I have a good feeling I'm going to like it, and I'll probably end up buying the full game, but...
Well, the crazy thing, too, is, they nailed it in, okay, we're going to give you all this gameplay and get you familiar with the world, and we're going to give you this weird little character with a terrible name. If you introduce a cute character into a game, people are going to love it no matter what, if it's done right.
What was the name again?
Garbuncle.
Garbuncle.
I keep wanting to call him Garfunkel, like Garfunkel and Oates.
He's like the anti-version of Garfield.
So this isn't really spoilers, but you find out that obviously Noctis's dad was the king, and you find out that this Garbuncle was actually a little wooden statue thing that he puts on his bedside cabinet, and he says, "When your dreams, this thing will protect you." Right. So when you finish the demo, you get to name it, and I was like, "What am I gonna name it?" I actually want to name it something weird like Grandpa. I thought that'd be hilarious if you just had this little weasel thing and his name Grandpa. I actually ended up going with Limbo, and that will transfer into the full game when it comes out. I thought it was a cool take on it because he protects you in your dreams. Limbo is a state between heaven and hell and death and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was an interesting take on that. I was either going to go with something really weird or something cool, and I went with something cool, thankfully. So I don't have to explain when I'm playing Final Fantasy 15. Why is that weird thing with you named Grandpa? You know?
No, I love that sentiment. So I did the same thing with my dog. So I have like a little Chihuahua, and his name is Preston.
Oh wow.
I love the idea of like an overly complicated human name on a little animal. You know?
Well, yeah, but at least that's a name. I've never heard anybody named Garbuncle.
Yeah, that doesn't even make any goddamn sense. I guess Ass Monkey was taken or something.
Jeez.
But so I think this is really cool in the sense of like all of these individual game companies are doing events for their own games, and they all have a mission, and a lot of times these companies don't hit that mission statement. With Square Enix, I think it was, we need to get old Final Fantasy fans excited for this, and we need to get people who don't know what the hell Final Fantasy is excited. And on the end of people who don't know anything about Final Fantasy, they did their job. And I'm pretty sure from what I've seen and I've read on Twitter and everything, they got the Final Fantasy fans excited too. So I think they definitely hit it out of the park with that. I think their hosting choice was great. I think that the way they set up the event was awesome. I think this is definitely a huge win for Square Enix, and I can only see this being a booming kind of situation for Final Fantasy 15 unless they screw it up somehow and delay the game, which can happen, can definitely happen. And that'll be
no.
Yeah, right. That'll definitely be a huge. That'll honestly, if this game is delayed out of this fall into early next year, guess what?
Nope.
Mass Effect Andromeda or Final Fantasy. Sorry, I'm going with Mass Effect. You know, and that would. I'm pretty sure there's people in my boat that want to play this for the first time, and you know, if you have a choice of one or the other games, you're going to go with something you already love as opposed to something that you starting to love and you want to get into. I think it getting delayed will kill it.
Yeah, if Square delays this game out of 2016, or same thing with Sony and Last Guardian, those companies are screwed. They have no idea what they are in for because they've already pissed gamers off enough. And if they just jump, they're like, just a few more months. If they pull this Uncharted 4 crap where they're like, oh, just a couple weeks, just a couple months, we'll get there eventually. They're cruising for a bruising because they've already worn out their welcome when it comes to these two games.
Closing thoughts on Final Fantasy 15. Jordan, you said you're anticipating it. You're not going to pre-order it, but you're going to be looking out for it. Dom, you said you're excited. You're wanting to play the demo and find out if it's going to be a game for you. And I'm super excited, and I never thought I'd ever say that about a Final Fantasy game. So it's really interesting. I think they won yesterday, you know. So, yeah. Square Enix, please don't delay.
Oh, gosh.
What's your topic, Dom?
All right. So my topic is just gaming media in general and how we each prefer to consume it. So I'm curious what you guys prefer, as well as everyone else who might be listening. I mean, so me myself, I'm a full-time student right now, and then I also work 30 hours a week. So my free time is absolutely precious. So whenever I do get that free time, I mean, I'm playing actual games, right?
Yeah.
That being said, when I'm driving and when I have some, available-ish time where I'm doing something at work that doesn't require me interacting with other people, I listen to podcasts. Like I love podcasts. I listen to, at least 5 or 6 or 7 shows every week of just audio podcasts, right? I never really watch any Let's Plays or anything on YouTube or anything of that nature where it's kind of got to grab most of my attention. I've never really been into any of that. I do grab like the occasional video review of a game I'm more interested in on YouTube, but that's about it. So, I mean, I'm primarily a podcast guy. So, I mean, seeing like how big like Let's Plays and all this other stuff has gotten, I'm curious like where that fits in other people's lives compared to other things.
So for me personally, I'm kind of weird in the sense of it'll make sense when I'm done with it. I can't binge things. I cannot watch more than 2 episodes of anything, like on Netflix or anything. It's just not how I'm programmed. People can watch a whole series on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Episode after episode after episode. I can't. It's just not how I function. I get bored. No matter how good the show is. Maybe bored's the wrong thing. It's like it gets stale to me and I need to change it up just so I can still enjoy the show. Maybe it's me not wanting to get through everything all at once. So I don't really intake a lot of movies or TV shows. I intake a lot more online content.
Speaking of that really quick, House of Cards is fantastic, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I intake a lot of online content through YouTube and stuff. I don't like listening to audio podcasts. I'm more of a visual person. I like watching the video and watching them speak as they speak. It's just how I am. I don't really like listening to audio. The only podcast I listen to solely audio is the Comedy Button, just because they don't have a video portion of it, which is unfortunate. I think for their Patreons maybe they do, but as far as games media, I watch Let's Plays. The primary people I watch are Rooster Teeth / Achievement Hunter / Let's Play. They're like 3 different things. The Kind of Funny Guys. I watch podcasts here and there of other people, so like I've listened to Nerds of the Round Table and stuff like that. But honestly, there's only about 2 or 3 podcasts I listen to. Most of my stuff is people playing video games and enjoying them. I really like that. I watch a lot of streamers too, actually. Some of my favorite streamers I watch are like Ammunition and stuff like that, and I like it because it's an immediate dialogue with somebody and it's immediate feedback. Whereas with the YouTube video, a lot of times they record it in advance, right? Which is still enjoyable, but the reason live streaming is kicked off so much is because it's this instant connection, right? There's somebody right there playing a game and you see their immediate reactions, not edited, not filtered.
Yeah,
it's just them, and I really love streaming, and I love all that stuff.
So you're all in.
Yeah, I like online content. I don't like TV really. My TV shows are Netflix shows. I can do without TV forever really. I just don't watch anything on TV. I don't need to watch the local news. I have the internet for that. Yeah, all my stuff is through online, and I have a lot more free time right now as of now. So I'm trying to take the free time I have now to try to digest as much as I can. And yeah, I'm definitely more of a video podcast guy when it comes to games media than audio. What about you, Jordan?
So games media has honestly been a pretty big part of my life for most of my life. I can remember even before middle school, like in elementary school, I can remember just hopping on the computer and typing in IGN.com on one tab and GameSpot.com on another, just to kind of get the general gaming news from around the industry. And ever since then, I've been a part of that. Started going to IGN more in the last like 4 or 5 years. That's where I got into Podcast Beyond and Colin and Greg and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, my current I guess routine when it comes to games media would be I wake up in the morning and get a shower, and then usually come out to my computer and get on IGN, see everything that happened while I was away from the website. And that's one of my big news sources, of course. Facebook, all the pages that I like on there come through my news feed, so I see random articles and stuff from Polygon and Kotaku and stuff. But yeah, IGN, I go there pretty much every day and read their stuff, read their articles, and watch their videos. And they're not the best website out there, but they are like one of the most consistent and well-rounded like geek media and entertainment websites out there. So they're nice to be able. It's like it's nice to know that IGN's just there whenever I want my comic book or video game or movie.
Oh yeah,
news,
it's nice. Yeah, you see a video game article, and also check out a review of a Game of Thrones episode or whatever. Yeah,
right.
It's like
yeah.
everything I'm interested in one hub, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, as far as podcasts go, I didn't really get into podcasts until a couple years ago, I would say. And I've gone through all the Podcast Beyonds, and I love that podcast.
Wait. You've gone through all of them? Like
Podcast
all
Beyond?
400?
Yeah. So I was a pizza delivery driver last year, and I would just play Podcast Beyond while I drove pizzas around, because
That'll do it.
music can actually get pretty damn boring when you're just constantly listening to it and sitting in the car. So yeah, that was how I got through Podcast Beyond. And now I've been into Kind of Funny since they were the Game Over Greggy channel. So I watch, I've been through all the Game Over Greggies and Kind of Funny Gamecast been there since the beginning. So I would say IGN and Kind of Funny are my 2 main like podcast places. And then I really like Danny O'Dwyer over on GameSpot, so I watch his show a lot called The Lobby, which they've pretty much turned into a podcast. And then the Game Informer show I've started watching recently. If you guys aren't familiar with the Game Informer YouTube channel or the videos they do,
They're pretty good, yeah.
yeah, those guys are pretty cool, and they've got kind of a similar goofball style to like IGN, or especially Kind of Funny, where you're just kind of having fun with the gang sort of thing. So the Game Informer show is a podcast I've recently started listening to. As far as Let's Plays go, I've never really watched Let's Plays. If anything, it's just been for like gameplay footage that I've watched Let's Plays. But of course, since Kind of Funny Games got into it, I've watched some of their stuff. And really, I just put those on while I'm gaming if I've run out of podcasts. So, other than that, I loved game trailers when that was sort of still a thing. And they had like their own, gaming related YouTube shows that aren't an hour long. They're just a few minutes or whatever. So shout out to the Final Bossman and Huber Hype. So yeah, that's how I or what I consume. How I consume, I have 2 TVs set up in the room that I stay in. So one of them is bigger, and that's like, in front of my chair, and then there's a smaller one off to the right. And I like video podcasts better than audio just because I like that facial interaction. So yeah, I just put, whatever podcast Beyond or whatever on the second TV, and then play, go collect stuff in Assassin's Creed Unity or whatever on my big TV. That is how I enjoy my games media. I would say, again, it's a big part of my life, and I really enjoy it. Just kind of being part of the gaming zeitgeist. So
Yeah, no, it's cool. There's definitely something that can fit in with everybody, right? So I mean,
yeah,
like how you guys just described that, and then there's also pretty much every one of those channels also does something, just an audio podcast. Someone with a little less time, or just like the way the week might work out. You can just have that on your phone, pop in when you're driving or whatever else.
I think the interesting thing too is like, I think for any of us here, no matter how much free time or how little free time we have, we would make time to listen to a podcast, right? If we only had time to listen to a podcast, we would. Right. If we had time to listen to more, then we would. Like, I think that definitely shows that it's, it's something that we consume because we enjoy it. And yeah, I just love being in the mindset of like being a gamer and listening to, just listening and taking in all this information. I think it's really cool.
I think podcasts especially are awesome for like passive consumption.
Yep.
So like what you were talking about, Dom, where you're driving, or me being a delivery driver, or doing side quests in a game on one TV while you're passively watching and listening to a podcast on the other, or doing chores, whatever it is, they just work well. They're like, they pair well with a lot of things,
Multitasker's best friend, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. When I'm walking my dogs, or I'm at work, writing code, or responding to emails, it's a perfect multitasker companion. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of multitasking, Jordan, you have an interesting topic for us, don't you?
Yes, we've got a new segment here on the Controlled Interest Gamescast this week, and it is called Talking Trophies.
And achievements.
Yeah, whatever those are. Whatever that is. So yeah, we're talking trophies now. And I mentioned earlier that I've begun the quest for the Assassin's Creed Unity Platinum.
The noble quest.
I love that game, and Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I platinumed that last fall, so I already kind of know what I'm getting into. They're not super hard, they're more just like time consuming. It's about getting all the collectibles, completing all the challenges and the main missions, just various stuff like that, killing people a certain way or whatever. Excuse me. So, I guess, tell me about how you guys, go about getting trophies or achievements, and, tell me like how into it you are. Would you consider yourself a trophy hunter? Would you consider yourself an achievement hunter? Or are you more just like casually enjoying it when, something pops in the middle of your game?
So I'm a huge achievement hunter. I love it. It just, For me, you're probably the same way, Jordan, in the sense of like I'll play through a game, and if I really enjoy it, I want to have that like marker of like I super enjoyed this game, right? Like I love this game, so it's like if I can have a platinum or if I can have a perfect gamer score on it, that shows to me personally that I love this game. And when other people look at it, most of the time people think that like, oh, it's like a dick measuring contest. What's the point of achievements or trophies? And to me, it's like, it's not for other people. It's for me. Like, I want to see what I've accomplished. The thing that sucks is I'm hovering right now at about 80K gamer score, which I am in the top percentile. I was reading this thing for the 10-year anniversary of Xbox Live. They released statistics, and they gave you your own statistics. And for me having 80, there's a lot of people with a lot more achievement score than I have. For me having almost 80K, I was in the top like 6%, I think, of all Xbox gamers, which is insane to me because I don't think my score is that high. But the way it works for Xbox is a game will come out with 1,000 gamer score usually, and each achievement has a different score to it. So kind of like in the sense of like there's bronze, silver, golds, and then a platinum, right? There's no platinum trophy on Xbox, but it's like, your bronze trophies are worth 5 or 10 points.
And thank you, Jerrad, for explaining to us why the trophy system is so much better than the achievement system.
I have to disagree.
You just said there's no such thing as a platinum, and you got to like complete the score for it to be you're technically considered platinum or whatever. No, we got platinums, we got golds, we got silver, bronze. You know exactly where you stand.
They're not even in order when you go on a game. Like, they're not even like put nicely. Like, I've seen lists for trophies, and it's like there's like a silver and then a bronze, and like I don't know. I just don't like the way it's formatted. But to each their own. Sure. If I would have started on PlayStation, I would have loved trophies. I owned a PlayStation 2, and then 360 was when I made the jump.
Traitor.
I think it's so satisfying to hear the bloop, and it's probably, I don't know what the notification is when you get a trophy, but it's probably satisfying when you get that right. Yeah. For me, it's just like, I wouldn't say I'm hardcore. I'm not like the people with like 300 gamer score, but I'm not very casual about it. I do enjoy it, and I'll go back to games and I'll be like, that's weird, I don't have this achievement, and I'll go and get that specific achievement. I have these weird things too where I make sure to complete certain titles games. So like the last like 5 Maddens I have perfect scores in just cuz. I think it's fun. It's kind of like an add-on. I think if Nintendo implements this in their system, I think it'll be great for all Nintendo fans. If the console's worth buying, that is. But like, that'd be cool if there was something retroactively too with your Nintendo account. It's a cool legacy thing, right? It's like, I've played for this long. And I think that's one untalked about thing that puts Xbox and PlayStation above Nintendo is you have this legacy profile. When you go to Nintendo, it's like there's no legacy there. You can talk about all these games you played, but there's not like a hard set legacy that you can look at that's public to everybody. It's kind of weird to me considering Nintendo's known for being like the grandfather. It's really weird. That'd be cool. I could just imagine like, the kind of like achievements for like a Legend of Zelda game. So for me, it's definitely not passive, but it's not super hardcore. I enjoy getting achievements, and I love perfecting games. There's nothing like it. It's just a cool. I don't really feel finished with the game unless I've perfected it. Like, even if I complete a game, loved it, if I see that there's achievements I haven't unlocked, it feels like ugh. Like, I don't even want to see it because I know I didn't complete the game to its full potential. So
all right, for me, I'm glad they exist. Actually, first of all, really quick, obviously when you platinum a game, I mean, you call it a platinum. What's the vernacular on Xbox? You just 100%ed
perfected.
it?
Perfected. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm not. I mean, I guess that says something right there. I don't even know like what you call that. Is that maybe I'm just out of the loop? But platinum to me is like synonymous with 100%. Even almost like regardless of the platform. Like I would say, Jerrad, did you platinum that game on Xbox? I mean,
yeah, like I wouldn't be opposed to somebody asking if I platinum something on Xbox. Like, right. And I understand it. It'd be like somebody asking somebody if they perfected a game on PlayStation. Like, it's not the correct verbiage, or
yeah.
But yeah.
So for me, the amount of time it takes to platinum a game is just it rarely fits in with. I mean, not that I don't have enough time, but like I don't have enough time to play that game for that long.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually only platinumed one game, and it was Dark Souls 2. Actually, I did Dark Souls 1 as well.
That's a hard platinum.
Those are
Dark Souls 2 was actually really easy.
Oh, they said Dark Souls. I didn't know you said Dark Souls 2, my bad.
Yeah, both of them, sorry. Yeah, the original Dark Souls was an extremely hard platinum because there was this one like slab of stone that you needed to upgrade certain weapons, but you only could get one for a playthrough. It was ridiculous, and you needed like 5 of them to upgrade this weapon to the, you know what I mean, to get the actual achievement. Dark Souls 2 was much easier. Bloodborne, I came like so close to getting the platinum, but the Chalice dungeons just like they destroyed me. I've never been so frustrated with anything in my life. Like, you get half your health bar and the bosses are 5 times as hard as usual. It's just, it just makes you want to do horrible things to people. Like
Fallout 4's platinum isn't that hard from what I've heard.
Oh, except for the settlement trophy.
The settlement thing, yeah, but they've had, there's workarounds now to that.
So I'm like 50% to it. I'll probably grab it. I'll probably grab the platinum on that. But yeah, I've not really been into doing it that much. I mean, I just I wish I could. I don't know, because there's some games that are great games. The Last of Us, you know, I think this is like one of the greatest games ever made. There was just no way I was ever getting
that trophy list is garbage.
There was just there was no way.
Up.
Like, there's few games I like more, but there was no way I was getting that platinum. No.
Yeah, speaking of that, and this is kind of a side topic on this, with trophies and achievements, I would rather have a game have nothing than it be terrible. Like, because a lot of times achievements and trophies show how much a developer cares about that, and it's a little thing that a percentage, I think it's a bigger percentage than people think of that unlock achievements and trophies, but like just showing, like having an appreciation for that kind of thing, like. Man, The Last of Us, for that being such a good game, I couldn't give that a 10 because because its trophy list is so garbage.
So the only other aspect that the only aspect I dislike about these, I mean, there's when you get a bad list of trophies, obviously that sucks. But then there's games where if you pay attention and you get the trophy list beforehand and you basically optimize your first playthrough to get as many trophies as you can.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. So in New Vegas, I just.
Well, that's a problem with the gamer, though, right? That's not a problem with the game.
No, not necessarily.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a me problem, right? If I choose to optimize my playthrough so I can get the most trophies I can each run, I think that can. To me, it's like I'm taking away from the. Granted, I'm doing it myself, but it's taking away from the experience. Like, I'm not playing it how I naturally would, just going through and doing whatever. Instead, I'm going through things in a specific order as outlined by this guide I looked up online. And saving at this specific spot and then coming back and making a different choice. I don't know. It just, to me, it can take away from the experience if you do that to yourself. No, and it depends on the list again, like what trophies there are for that game. But there are scenarios where I think it can harm the experience that you're getting.
I totally get where you're coming from, Dom, because it may be partly the gamer's fault, but you have to think about, like, a big thing is missable trophies. Yep. And also, like what you're talking about with the stone slab in Dark Souls, not necessarily missable, but ones that if you don't do it on your first playthrough, or if you don't do it a certain way at a certain time, it can just make it like blisteringly difficult and really annoying.
And Dark Souls is notorious for that kind of stuff in general. If you do, if you talk to one person at the wrong time, or
right.
If you kill an NPC, then everything is ruined and you have to start a new game.
Yeah, so
kind of stuff.
If I'm even like thinking, first of all, I'd say I don't consider myself like a platinum hunter, but I consider myself a trophy hunter. Like, there's plenty of games that I go and I work, separately to get specific trophies for without ever intending to get the platinum. And it's like, silver and golds are worth a bunch of points anyways, so it's not like I have to have a platinum if I want a trophy hunt in a game. So I'm not quite as hardcore as you, Jerrad, but I do enjoy that hunt. I do enjoy, like, especially, like we've all said, games that are particularly special to us. It's nice to be able to go and do a little something extra that it isn't DLC or anything like that. So
it gives you a reason to play the games you love more, which is cool.
Yeah.
Right. And, if I'm even, like, thinking about a platinum or thinking about trophy hunting in a game, before I even start it, I'll go ahead and just look up the trophy guide so that I know if there's anything missable, if there's anything, that I have to look out for. So I play it, and I think this is how other people should do it. Like, you have to play it as an enjoyable experience. Like, you can't. I've had platinums that I went for that are just like banging your head against a brick wall, and it just makes you upset, and it makes you like the game less, and nobody really has fun there. So
I think the best way.
I think the best way to do it is just to make sure that you're like allowing yourself to have fun.
No, I think that goes without saying, but I think the best way to do it is how you just described you're playing Unity. So you played through it once.
Yeah.
Months ago or a year ago or whatever. And then if it's a game that, I mean, you play through it once without giving consideration to the platinum. I mean, you're going to go grab some trophies where you can, but, and then when you're done, if it's a game you really loved, yeah, come back and then do your platinum playthrough.
Sure.
Where you're optimizing everything you do and you're making sure everything's step by step and taking the best route to get that platinum. But again, if it's a game you really love and, and it works that way, I think that would be the preferred method.
Yeah. And a lot of times once you beat a game, you can kind of just, you know where certain things are, you know how to get certain trophies or whatever, so it makes that platinum experience a lot easier.
So, in the coming week, what are we going to be playing? For me, as we talked about earlier in the episode, Games with Gold is releasing A Wolf Among Us, and I've been excited to get it. I played through the first episode. It's been free for the longest time, but now that I'm getting the whole game, I love Telltale, so I'm going to be steamrolling through that. I love their games. Apparently it's a great game. I'm going to be playing the usual Smite, yada yada yada. But yeah, I don't have too many definitive plans except for A Wolf Among Us. And Dead Space, because Dead Space is going to be available. I definitely want to download that and start playing through that again. It's been ages since I played through Dead Space.
Play through it in the dark.
Well, yes.
Yeah, with headphones.
Yeah, I love Dead Space. It's just been so long since I played it. So yeah, Dead Space and A Wolf Among Us. What about you guys?
I'm definitely going to download the Final Fantasy demo. Check that out. Otherwise, again, I'm still anxiously awaiting Dark Souls 3. I'm preparing to die.
Oh, you got like 2 weeks now?
I'm so pumped.
So for me, like I said, I finished Mass Effect, and I'm waiting just a little bit to start the second one. So, going to be playing lots of Assassin's Creed. Maybe throw back in some Persona 3, because I still need to finish that. But, yeah, working on the AC Unity Platinum, and really enjoying the Assassin's Creed Syndicate Jack the Ripper DLC. So, now that I've got it downloaded, I'll probably play the Final Fantasy Platinum demo as well.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to grab the Ted Bundy DLC for Fallout 2.
Awesome. Sounds like we got a good week ahead of us. Thank you guys, as always, for listening to the Controlled Interest Gamecast. This was episode 5. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on MySpace. Probably not MySpace. So, yeah, as always, thank you guys for all the follows, the listens, the likes, the shares, everything. This community is growing. As long as we get, one new listener a week, that means we're doing something, and that's awesome. Thank you guys for enjoying what we do here. And, yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Any closing words? Jordan, Dom?
Hashtag smash the dunst.
Dom?
Dunst the smash, or smash the dunst.
Dunst the smash. Alrighty, guys. Catch you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks again, everyone, for watching and or listening. If you like what you heard, be sure to give those like and subscribe buttons a quick click. Every little contribution can help to make our channel grow. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at CTRLINT. That's Controlled Interest. See you later.